What do you get when you mix a 15-point fourth-quarter deficit, a squad that refuses to die, and Tyrese Haliburton with ice in his veins? You get the craziest Game 1 ending the NBA Finals has seen in years. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a cinematic masterpiece. The Indiana Pacers stunned the Oklahoma City Thunder with a last-minute comeback in Game 1, setting up fireworks in the NBA Finals. Tyrese Haliburton struck a cold-blooded jumper with only 0.3 seconds on the clock that gave Indiana its first and only lead of the game in the win. It was pure drama, the kind of moment that makes fans scream, players stare in disbelief, and announcers lose their voices. From wild turnovers to clutch coaching moves and a performance that would make Reggie Miller proud, this was one for the history books. So picture this. You're up by 15 points in the fourth quarter. You're the number one seed. You're playing in front of your raucous home crowd, defending the best home record in the entire NBA. Your MVP is cooking with 38 points. You're the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Game 1 of the NBA Finals is basically in the bag. Right? Wrong. Tyrese Haliburton had other plans. Very dramatic, very theatrical, borderline cinematic plans. With just 0.3 seconds on the clock, yes, less than the time it takes to sneeze, Haliburton rose up from 21 feet and calmly buried a jumper that gave Indiana its first lead of the game. That's right, not just the final lead, the first and only. The Pacers stunned the Thunder 111-110 in a game that looked more like a sequel to Miracle than a basketball match. "Man, basketball's fun," Haliburton said after the game, probably suppressing the urge to wink at the camera like he's in a Disney sports movie. "Winning is fun, especially when you snatch it like a magician yanking the tablecloth off a fully set dinner table with zero spillage." To be clear, the Pacers should not have won this game. They turned the ball over 25 times. They were down 15 in the fourth quarter. They looked like they were getting cooked by a team that had the home energy of a college frat party during midterms. And then, boom. Cue the montage music, cue Haliburton's hero arc. Let's not overlook Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's performance either. The newly crowned NBA MVP was in full gladiator mode, dropping 38 points with the ease of a man ordering coffee. For 46 minutes and change, he was unstoppable. But basketball, as they say, is a game of runs. And apparently nobody runs quite like the 2024-25 Indiana Pacers. Haliburton is now officially the playoff Grim Reaper. If there's time on the clock and a Pacer jersey on his back, you are not safe. This dude has turned game-winning shots into a recurring event. He's basically the NBA's version of Final Destination. If he's coming for you, there's no escape. Let's recap his growing list of buzzer-beating burglaries. April 29th versus Milwaukee, down 118-111 with 34.6 seconds left in overtime. Haliburton scores with 1.4 seconds to go. Pacers win 119-118. May 6th versus Cleveland, down 119,112 with 48 seconds on the clock. Haliburton hits the game winner with 1.1 seconds left. Pacers win 120-119. May 21st versus New York, down 121-112 with just 51.1 seconds left, sends the game to overtime with a literal buzzer beater. Pacers win 138-135. And now June 12th, the biggest stage of them all, NBA Finals Game 1. Down 15 with under 10 minutes left, Thunder Nation is on their feet. Cameras flashing, MVP ballin', and then Haliburton happens, again. Pacers coach Rick Carlisle has clearly built his team for fourth quarter chaos. The man has been here before, literally. The last team to come back from a 15-point deficit in the fourth quarter of a finals game? The 2011 Dallas Mavericks, coached by, you guessed it, Rick Carlisle. That game was against the Miami Heat's Big Three, and now over a decade later, Carlisle is pulling the same rabbit out of a slightly older hat. "We've had lots of experience in these kinds of games," Carlisle said, casually understating the fact that his team treats massive comebacks like part of their warm-up routine. The Thunder, to their credit, played a phenomenal 3.75 quarters. Chet Holmgren was solid inside, Jalen Williams brought the hustle, and SGA was well, SGA. But as OKC coach Mark Daigneault put it, they just keep coming. They keep playing. He's not wrong. The Pacers are like the horror movie villain that just won't die. You think you've outrun them, locked the door, burned the house down, and somehow they still show up behind you with a game winner. This was a full-blown team effort led by Pascal Siakam, who quietly dropped 19 points and played like the season finals veteran he is. Obi Toppin added 17 with his usual brand of chaotic athleticism. Miles Turner banged in 15, including a clutch 3, and both Haliburton and Andrew Nembhard chipped in 14. This wasn't a one-man miracle. It was a full orchestra of clutch. On the flip side, the Thunder had contributions too. Jalen Williams looked sharp with 17, and Lou Dort put in 15 with that signature Bulldog energy. In fact, everything looked like it was going perfectly according to OKC's plan. They were at home, they were up by 15 early in the fourth, and they were sitting on a 36-1 record this season when leading by 15 or more at home. And then, Carlisle happened. With the Pacers flatlining early in the fourth, Rick Carlisle didn't just call a timeout, he pulled the nuclear option. He yanked all 5 starters off the court and subbed in fresh legs like he was hitting reset on a PlayStation controller. Bold? Absolutely. Desperate? Maybe. But effective? Oh, very. That radical switch worked like basketball CPR. Over the next 3 minutes and 26 seconds, Indiana blitzed OKC with a 15-4 run. The Thunder went from cruising to clenching as the Pacers cut the lead down to 98-94. And it wasn't just momentum, it was belief. Suddenly, the body language flipped. The Pacers were alive, and the Thunder looked like they just realized the horror movie villain wasn't dead after all. Miles Turner's 3 with 6:16 left was the moment you could feel the shift in the arena. It got quiet. Thunder fans started nervously checking the score like their phones were broken. The Pacers smelled blood, and we all know how this team finishes close games. Spoiler, they do. From that point on, Indiana simply outwilled OKC. It wasn't clean, it wasn't pretty, but it was classic Pacers playoff chaos. And just like they've done all postseason long, they waited until the final second to finish the job. Tyrese Haliburton's buzzer-beating jumper wasn't just a shot, it was a gut punch. The kind of ending that sends fans into stunned silence, and opposing coaches into existential reflection. Even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had been near unstoppable for most of the night, had to tip his hat. "We had control of the game for the most part," he said post-game. "Now it's a 48-minute game, and they teach you that lesson more than anyone else in the league the hard way." Shai's not wrong. The Pacers aren't just scrappy, they're specialists in fourth-quarter resurrection. And now they're walking into Game 2 with the psychological advantage, having handed OKC their first home collapse of the season in the most dramatic way possible. Game 2 tips off Sunday night in Oklahoma City. You can bet the Thunder will come out angry, organized, and looking for revenge. But here's the thing. Indiana thrives in the chaos. They've turned comebacks into a lifestyle and buzzer beaters into a brand. One thing's for sure, if you're planning to leave the game early next time, don't. These Pacers are never done until the scoreboard says 0, and even then, it's worth waiting to make sure. If Game 1 was any indication, we're in for a final series that's more thrill ride than basketball game. Don't blink, because with the Pacers involved, anything can happen. Miss the madness? Catch the highlights, rewatch the buzzer beater, and get ready. Game 2 is coming, and it's must-see TV. Stay locked in.